Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, I have Anthony Argenziano as our guest today. Anthony is the founder and CEO of VelocityPM. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I will have you introduce yourself and maybe I'll talk about a little bit about yourself and your experience.
Yeah, sure. Again, Anthony Argenziano, founder and CEO of Velocity PM. I really have like 25 plus years of experience that is kind of everything that led up to founding this company. I've led product and tech teams, mostly at startups, though I've done some big tech as well. Spent some time at both Amazon and eBay. And yeah, like I said, led a ton of product and tech teams, built some great products over the years, and throughout that time, kind of developed a framework for building great products. And I kind of took that framework from company to company. It obviously had to kind of be flexible and refined it everywhere and customize it to each location. And it really made it just a much stronger framework. And ultimately, that became the sort of the genesis or the foundation of Velocity PM.
Um, yeah, that So basically, you kind of test driven your formula, let's say, and then you came up with that what works, and then you started on your business. Very smart. So that kind of takes us to the next question, next natural question. What is Velocity PM? What does it do, and how does it help people?
Yeah, for sure. It's very much the solving your own problem kind of thing. Like I said, I created this framework, and for years it was maybe lightly documented, a lot in my head, and so I was using a number of different tools to kind of pull it all together. And when some of our competitors like Aha and Product Board first came out, I was like, great, right? That these are it's product management software, right? It's the first time I seen a tool like that, and I started using them. And look, they're definitely nice tools, but it still didn't give me everything I needed to fully I kind of implement my framework and do it the way that I wanted to. So a few years ago, that's when I said, this is my next idea, right? Is to turn this framework into a SaaS platform focused on product management. And that's really what it was from the beginning. And it's fairly quickly continued to evolve and improve. We did have the great fortune of starting right around the time where generative AI and LLMs where everything was just blowing up. So we were able to build with AI, kind of purpose-built AI from day one. And I think it really made our solution much more powerful. But at the end of the day, what we do is automate product discovery, automate the product development lifecycle, and we've even very recently added one-click prototyping. So taking all of this vast data that we generate and that the user refines and pass that into an AI coder to generate these web app prototypes, fully functional web app prototypes. The reason we're not saying, we're generating your production app is because, we're still at a point in the evolution of AI coding specifically, where you need an engineer to get involved and to take that from that prototype stage to production code. But that's what we do, right? Ultimately, we're a platform to make product managers, product teams, even founders, if you're an early stage company, to just make them better at their job, make them more efficient, kind of supercharge their efforts.
Great, great. Um, we're gonna come back to the AI stuff in a bit,
Sure.
but I also obviously that's what we're gonna eventually talk on. So you mentioned a couple of other competitors, right? So let's say Axion AI, we are a young company. If I want um, a similar service, so why would I pick you over the competitor? What gives Velocity PM the advantage?
Yeah, so we have we think we have quite a few value points or value propositions, but focusing on a few of the core where we really differentiate from the competition is we really are the only platform in the world that fully does automated product discovery. And look, that's just the foundation for product management. And one of the problems that we see in almost every product team, every software company that we speak with is they just don't have time for product discovery. They know they need to do it, but for a number of reasons, not the least of which is, they're getting bombarded with feature requests and stakeholders coming at them. Everybody says their thing is the most important. So the first thing that gets pushed aside is ironically the most important thing. It is that product discovery, is deeply understanding the industry and your users, the personas, jobs to be done for those personas, right? Deeply understanding that and then running some experimentation, prove or disprove assumptions before you start building, right? I mean, we don't have a speed of writing code or generated code problem. I think that's been more than solved, right?
Mhm.
In fact, it's faster and easier than ever now with
Yeah,
AI to
100%.
generate code. So that's not the problem. But if you're quickly generating products, generating software that doesn't solve a real problem, that doesn't deliver on jobs to be done for your key personas, and it's just a hobby, you're just honestly, you're just wasting time.
Mm.
And unfortunately, that's what happens to so many software companies. I mean, the data's out there. It's easy to find and easy to see. 75% or more of all new software products fail. I mean, yet as an industry, we spend over $1 trillion a year on it.
Yeah.
It's kind of mind-boggling. So, kind of coming full circle on your question is that, helping you build the right product, solve the right problems by starting off the entire process with automating that product discovery, and then really having support throughout the kind of automation and support throughout the entire product development lifecycle is going to ensure that you're going to really build the right product. And our competitors, I think they just don't look at it the same way. So a lot of them are very clean slate, blank canvas, cool, powerful tools, but left to your own devices, if the platform isn't kind of automating that and doing a lot of that for you, you're just going to get hung up in all of those issues, right? You're gonna spend time chasing down customer requests, stakeholder requests, and just not build the right thing. So we really feel strongly that automating and just really enhancing that product discovery process as a starting point, and then use that data to support the rest of the product development lifecycle. We just think that that's just a huge differentiator for us, and we're really starting to get that validation in the market.
Got you, got you. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Just to come back to you, something that you mentioned, that we're ramping up real fast, building new softwares in days instead of years, right?
Yeah,
It's a good and a bad thing at the same time. Good thing is your idea is live and in a blink of an eye. Bad thing is it's gonna be challenging when you're trying to actually code and debug and fix and add more feature functionalities to it because again like I as a software engineer I use it, I kind of use it as a tool, tool in my arsenal, not to code the whole thing.
right.
I for sure I do use it for coding purposes as well, but I'm the gatekeeper. I make sure that like this is exactly what I want. I'm just saving some time. But yeah, that is true. That's exactly what's happening in the industry. Like products are circling faster. The cycles are
Right.
much more faster and efficient. And there's kind of unknown as well. Like we don't even know how the product life cycle would look like from 2 years from now on, right? Because the way
For
that
for sure. Yeah.
everything's moving. And now, like in a sprint, you can pretty much like build feature instead of multiple sprints and so on. So just wanted to put that out there. Also, so we spoke about, what gives you the competitive advantage and why me as a client, why would I pick Velocity PM? But help me out understand this. How do you acquire that client? How do you reach out to people and how do you convince them that, you know, your product is better than your competitors?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a great question. It's obviously where we are in the life cycle of the company right now. So we're effectively doing two things in parallel. I mean, we again pretty confident that our our future scale and growth, the way we really, build this into ultimately $1 billion company is product-led growth is that future. But it's not you don't just jump right into product-led growth and have huge success from day one. It's been done. You could look at Canva, Notion, and companies like that, though they still had their struggles before they hit their kind of hockey stick growth. But again, with few exceptions, it's something that takes a while to get going, to get that flywheel going. So we're working on that right now, and good early results. But again, we're not the next Canva, Notion,
Mhm.
Slack, you
Hopefully
name it
someday.
yet. Not yet, I say. But so we're really getting that flywheel going. On top of that, another thing that and it really in support of that to get things going is we're doing founder-led sales. And that primarily means I'm reaching out to my network. I'm very active on LinkedIn and some other platforms. Um, and just get it in front of people because when you see in 60 seconds that we automate an entire product discovery process, it's a great wow moment. So we just need to get people to see that. And again, the way we get people to sign up for our trial so that they can experience that, a lot of outreach. We play around with some, and we'll run some paid ads. We get out to events like product conferences and things like that. So honestly, it's get the word out and get um, product people to try the app, sign up for the trial, because the wow moment is, it's pretty impressive. And if you see that, you're very likely to adopt and really continue to use the platform.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, again, going back to my old point that we are building faster, we're coming up with new ideas, new tools. Um, Maybe I would even say we're building too fast. So there
Oh,
are so
I
many
could not
products.
agree more, by the way. Totally agree.
Right. We have so many products out there. Like if I'm using one AI tool, there's like 10 other. Just like mushrooms, there are shops going on.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult for someone to kind of like focus on one tool and then understand the benefits of it and then actually try it and then buy it. So yeah, that's it seems like you're more doing organic reach and like a mix of organic and paid and somewhere there.
Yeah.
And
And
kind
I'll
of,
say, by the way, a lot of the paid that we do is really more testing what platforms or channels work best for us, what messaging works best,
mhm.
what copy and assets and things like that. We're doing that to prove out what works best, much more than we're using it to actively acquire users,
Mhm.
so that when we're ready to kind of turn on the fire hose, really start to increase spend. We'll know what already works best.
Exactly works, right? Correct,
Yeah,
correct. Yeah, yeah, that make total sense. A/B testing ish kind of like
for sure.
um cool. So you did touch a little bit on you briefly mentioned that you want to make this company a 1 billion dollar company. Let's take a step back. Where are you now today, and where do you see yourself in, let's say, 12 months, given you have a magic wand, no challenges or nothing, just what's your dream in 12 months?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, you know, revenue, getting recurring revenue growth, just at a kind of being kind of broad, it is our goal. I mean, we have revenue specific revenue goals in mind, but it's we want to get enough users on the platform converted and again get to that kind of next milestone. So in a year, I mean, 3 million in ARR is would be really nice. We've modeled it out. We think we'll get there. But that, if I said what is a really great goal, kind of a stretch goal, but also very achievable. That's what we're shooting for. Again, we've had a product in market for about a year now,
Hmm.
but early on it was pretty light on functionality.
Of course.
It's really only the last 3 to 6 months that everything we talk about and these features and actually delivering on the value proposition
Mm.
that's been in our vision that we've been kind of evangelizing. Now we're really delivering on it. Where early on, it was more of the idea of it, the vision.
Gotcha, gotcha. Cool. So now you've told me your ideal situation in 12 months, let's say. What do you think if hopefully not, but if you miss the goal, what do you think would be the reason or what are your potential challenges or vulnerabilities that you may feel like uh, could be a reason that you if you don't reach the goal?
Yeah, I mean, I think the if we didn't hit that goal or at least get in the ballpark, I'm pretty confident it wouldn't be, if we look at kind of three tiers of growth or three stages of growth, um, there's acquisition, right? We need to get people to sign up for the platform and see the value. And honestly, for our stage and for the spend, for what we spend on marketing and acquisition, it's pretty impressive. I think what we've done. We have over 1,500 companies that have signed up for the
Oh,
platform. So acquisition hasn't really been a challenge. Obviously, we want to continue to ramp that. So I don't think we'll have the issue there. So that's kind of the first step. The second is conversion to paid. Um, and again, in a pretty typical PLG model, get someone to sign up for a free version or a free trial. They have that wow moment. They convert to paid. Then they invite their teammates to join. So you kind of get that horizontal and vertical growth, right? You're adding more companies, but you're growing, the revenue
within
within
the
each
company.
company.
Mm.
So that second step, the conversion, has been a challenge for us until recently. I mentioned, we've really started to deploy a lot of great features and functionality, these agent workflows, a lot of this automation. That's helped tremendously with conversion. So we feel like very early on we solved the acquisition issue or challenge. Where I think we're in the early stages of really solving the conversion challenge.
Mm.
And then the next one is going to be, that growth within each individual company, getting them to invite their teammates. So just given the first two, if we don't hit that goal, I think it would be because we weren't getting enough individuals to then who the first person to sign up
Hmm.
for that company to then invite their teammates and increase the number of average users per. I mean, I know that's kind of a simplified view of it, but that's how we grow.
Got it.
Acquisition, conversion, and then expansion is the right
Right.
way to look at
It
it.
seems like the expansion part sh eventually at some point should be organic. Like it'll just, if the person who's using it likes it, obviously he's gonna wanna roll it out and have the teams get in. Do you usually target the CTOs and CEOs and or directly to the product manager, product owners?
Yeah, so we have in our initial go to market, we look at it as we have our ICP, ideal customer profile,
Mhm.
and then the key personas within that ICP.
Got it.
So our ICP, our go to market, right? Eventually, we're really going to go up and go after the enterprise, but our initial go to market is kind of early to mid size B2B SaaS.
Mm.
We know that industry, we know those players. It's huge, right? It's a huge segment. And the personas within that really are three. Product leader, and depending on the size of the company, that's anywhere from maybe a head of product to a chief product
Yeah,
officer.
yeah.
So it's product leader, product manager, any flavor of product manager, um, product manager, technical product manager, senior, principal, all of that. And then the third one is the founder or one of, an executive, and that's going to be typically in the earlier stage SaaS companies.
Right, right.
Because if you're early stage and you haven't yet hired a product manager or product leader, product manager, typically it's the founder CEO who is serving as the product manager.
Or a lot of the time CTOs get involved on part of it
Sure.
as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If like maybe, a co-founder is also the CTO, it doesn't have
Mhm.
to be a co-founder, but someone
Mhm.
that absolutely, if you don't have a product person, it's going to be one of those two kind of founder, CEO, CTO, something like that. So, and that's why I kind of a little bit more generally just say kind of an executive in an early company.
Mhm.
Those are the three people, three personas that we're selling to. And the good thing is in that segment, the early to mid B2B SaaS, they're the buyer as well.
Mhm.
Uh, they're using their own card and either carrying the expense, expensing it, or using a company card. But whereas again, we get up to enterprise and there's POs and a sales cycle and you know all of that. So that for a number of reasons, that's why we're really going after that mid-size SaaS.
Gotcha. As promised, we're going to talk about AI. So, what's your take on that? Let's say last few years, we saw like a huge AI revolution, right? Yeah, I would call it a revolution pretty much. Impacted every sector of software engineering and beyond. How did it or affect, however I want to say it, to your business, your industry, and where do you see it moving forward? Like, what's your prediction, how
Yeah.
the future would look like?
So, yeah, this is such a interesting topic, right? Um, I mentioned earlier that we very heavily, leaned in to to AI, specifically generative AI. And it's and I have such mixed feelings about it because it's a huge, we're believers, right? I mean, it's a huge part of our platform. It's part of what differentiates us. There's competition that really doesn't use AI or hasn't figured it out yet. They're trying it, but they haven't really figured out. And then there's other competitors that are, also kind of AI native, but they're very point solution, right? It doesn't really deliver on the value. So we feel like we figured out how to best leverage AI to solve the problem. Because kind of to the second half of your question, like where do I see this going and what's happening right now? Um, Caught up in the hype of the AI hype, the AI bubble. I don't know if it's truly a bubble, but it is what it is. So as this AI hype has really taken off, we see a lot of product managers say, I'm going to vibe code or I'm going to build my own agents. And that's great, right? But if you think about it, salespeople don't build their own CRMs, right?
Yeah.
CFOs, accountants don't build their own QuickBooks and accounting software, right? So, why are, I'm trying to understand really why product managers are like, well, we'll build the tools that we use to build our product. And I say,
Some company I've heard some of
yeah,
the product people are actually building instead of doing demos like on PowerPoints and all that, they're just vibe coding minimum MVP.
right. And again, look, of course, I'm sure there's people doing this successfully. But again, for me, it's like, well, why are you focusing on building tools
Right.
instead of building your product, right?
Mhm.
And so the good thing is, I think I see that starting to change and die down. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
AI is here to stay, and AI has completely changed product development, both
Mhm.
product management and then more broadly product development. I mean, it absolutely has. But what we want is obviously, I'm a little biased. Yeah, use
Mhm.
our platform. But I mean, I'll just say it more broadly like, build your products, but don't build the tools to build your products, right? I mean,
Right.
it's just making you less effective. So, where I see it heading is um, leveraging purpose-built AI tools for product management, product development, um, rather than this kind of maybe, you know, rabbit hole that a lot of us have gotten caught up into. Because you touched on it earlier, um, vibe coding. Again, it's part of me is really excited about it, and part of me is really just like frustrated. I don't get it. Like, um, I'll give you an example. Not too long ago was just, I want to stay current with everything, right? I mean, I have an amazing engineering team that's building all of this out, but being the leader of this company, I have to stay, really on top of it as well. So I was building a simple web app with, and I won't name but with an AI coding. And I mean, simple. And the very first version that it created, like always happens with AI coding, was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I wanted to now increment and build on it. 44 versions later, and that's not an exaggeration. I made sure to record that. 44 versions later, it couldn't get it to work. At about version 4 or 5, it stopped working properly.
And then you'll probably go on a loop. You'll having the same problem. You'll try to solve the same problem. It's just
100%, yeah.
same answers.
Right.
Yeah.
And look, it's not to disparage the companies that build those
Mhm.
or vibe coding in general. It's just what we're saying. It's not ready yet, right? It's very cool, but without, putting some strong process and guardrails, building true agentic workflows and using MCP and things like that, like without really doing that, you're going to run into those issues. And, you know, just because anybody can code now doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. Because here's the other thing. Look, our platform builds web app prototypes, right? I mean, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite here. We're believers in it, but what we're passing in to create that is all of that context that I mentioned. We do a full product discovery, then the user refines that data, adds to that data, and you continue to go through a product development lifecycle and say, okay, now pass all of this context into a vibe coder or an AI coder, not I think I want to build this today, right? Like, did you do any research? Did you do product discovery? So that's I definitely AI is here, for good. It's not changing. I don't think this is just the next dot-com crash. Um, but sure, the dot-com bubble burst, but what came out of it, right? I mean, still some amazing technology and an industry and all that. So some form of that could happen here, but AI is here to stay. I don't think it's taking everybody's job away and going to automate everything into this utopia where we sit back and, collect dividends or what, whatever some of those visions are. But I think it's just going to it's going to fundamentally change software. It's going to change SaaS. It's going to change product development. But ultimately, we're just going to figure out the best way to use it for what it is as a tool.
Yeah, I agree with your conclusion. Like this is exactly I feel like is where we will be, but I feel like there's gonna be now we're in a hyper growth mode. It's gonna hit the wall at some point, and the moment, as I mentioned, when you need to go back and see what you built, that's when you will figure out very quickly that, this is not how it's supposed to be. So let's take a step
Right,
back.
right.
When we take the step back, there's going to be like a gap in between. Then we will figure out that, okay, we have a very powerful tool, how we correctly use it. Unfortunately, the first, my observation in the industry was the first thing that we used AI is obviously like dump out as much product as possible, and also like replace people like instead of 10 people. Now I have like three people who can code.
Right.
Sure. But that is not necessarily always a bad thing, but it will have at some point the realization that, okay, no, maybe we should have six instead of three.
Right.
But hopefully it will get better. And not hopefully, I'm pretty sure it will definitely get better. If we're, what is it, like 2.5 years, 3 years in, and
Yeah.
tools
Yeah.
that we're building right now is mind-boggling. Imagine next 3, 4, 5 years later, what
Right.
can be achievable, right?
And look, building on that point that you mentioned, like I hate to say it this way, no one wants to be caught up in it, but we're probably due for a correction, right?
Yeah.
As an industry, software and technology, we don't love to hire. We love to overhire, right? And you can just look at these phases or cycles throughout the last 25 plus years. And coming out of the pandemic when every remote tool, every SaaS tool just went crazy because now all of a sudden, everybody's working remote and you need more Zoom licenses and you need just more SaaS products and all of that. And man, did we overhire
Mhm. 100%.
coming out of that, right? And AI or not, there was going to be a correction.
Mhm.
And, AI is probably accelerating that a little bit. But to your point, then you take a step back and say, okay, we didn't need 100 people,
Mhm.
in this company or in this department, but 10's probably not enough either, right? And maybe
Yeah,
settle on the right number. I feel like as an industry, we keep doing that. That's the
right,
cycle. So I'm hopeful that hiring picks back up again. Let's not go crazy, right?
right.
Let's find that right balance because yeah, I mean we brought people into the industry in this overhiring,
Mm.
and I think a lot of them are definitely out looking for a job right now.
Yeah, so like one of our the Axion AI company's motto is we will grow slow, but we'll hire less, but we're not gonna fire people. That's again, obviously
Yeah,
that's a guideline,
yeah, of
but
course, of course.
hopefully we can stick to that for a while now. Anthony, we're almost at time. I usually ask all my guests towards the end of this. This is my one of my classic questions. So I'm a seasoned software engineer. I've been in the industry for 15, 16 years, but I'm a new business owner. So I we have owned this Axion AI for uh, about 2 to 3, less than 6 months. Um, what as a founder, as a CEO, what is your advice for someone like me, or some of my audience are going to be also looking
Sure.
into starting businesses and at in a place where they're in the journey. So what's your advice for them?
Yeah, so there's a number of things I can say, and definitely kind of can break things down a little bit more. But I'll give you what I believe is the single best, and it's almost like just a kind of a wisdom point rather than advice maybe, but it ties together, and that is no one will ever care about your business as much as you do, the founder. And maybe that sounds a little bit obvious, but I've just seen it for myself. I've seen it in other startups. I talk to other founders all the time, and I've just learned this and seen this over and over in my career. And again, I can't emphasize it enough. No one will be anywhere close to caring about this business as much as you do. And I think it's important to recognize that. And by the way, I've probably known this for 15 plus years, and I get reminded of it all the time because it's easy to think you hire somebody or you're working with an advisor or you're talking to someone else, whatever it is. And it's like, wow, they're interested in what I'm doing. They're going to help, right? And get as much help as you can. I'm not anti-help. Don't do it alone. Go get help. Go get great advisors. But I just keep coming back to the best employee in the world. is an employee, not a founder. They'll never care about it as much as you do.
Yeah, 100%. And as a founder, as a business owner, my expectation should not also be that my employee would care as much as I do because, obviously.
Right.
Um,
But correct. But you say that and you know that, but then part of you starts to, kind of forget that point and expecting too much, or maybe not even expecting too much. It's just you know, understanding what you can delegate, what you can't, things like
Right,
that.
right. Yeah, at the beginning, like you want to do everything, and then very quickly you get grounded, saying like, "Nope, you need help." Um, obviously, very, very wise words there. Even like again, you're also 100% right on that. We know this, but the passion always takes over. That okay,
100%.
man,
Yeah.
I can do this now, but that's an employee. He's not supposed to do this now. You know. No, this is great. Um, this has been a great conversation, Anthony. Thank you so much for your time, and I've learned a lot. Do you, if somebody wants to take your services, somebody wants to, um, it's subscription based, right? Subscription based or
Subscription based, and it always starts with the free trial. So
got it.
yeah, it's very easy to
So
sign up.
yeah, just velocitipm.com, right?
Correct. And it's instead of a Y on the end, it's an I. So
Velocity.
VELOCITIPM.com.
Got it. I'll also put the website on our description. I'll send your email just in case if anybody wants have any question, wants to reach out, or hopefully want to use the product. It will be in the description. Anthony, once again, thank you so much for your time, and we will speak sometime later. And thank you everyone for sticking around for this long, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Thank you.